Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can we start?
Yes.
So good morning to, and a very bright morning to all the participants in this webinar organized by Dr. Rajendra Khare, Dr. Vinay Verma, and the entire team. And I extend my greetings and gratitude to the principal, respected Honorable Sandhya Ma'am of the Government College, Patharia, and the organizing committee for this invitation. And I greet the resource persons from India and abroad, all my respected colleagues who have joined this webinar, and the young students actively involved in the study of literature. Now, before I think we can begin our webinar now. So I can start on my topic. Do I have the permission? Do I have your kind permission? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, before we seriously engage ourselves in this discourse, kindly allow me to present this scenario. Imagine yourselves returning home after day's work, and you don't have to care for your keys. That is the major problem. What you do is simply you wave your hand before the locked door and it opens. How convenient. So, especially for those who keep forgetting their keys. So, is this some sci-fi film? No. This is something happening right now in some part of our world. A few days back, while browsing on internet, I found this news that there's a cybernetic enthusiast named Warwick, who over the years got different electronic devices implanted into his body. And he narrates an incident where he himself was in New York and he could experience touching an object in UK. How could he do that? He experienced some ultrasonic inputs and it gave him a bad sense. So what had happened was that his nervous system was interfaced with his computer, so that the robot hand, which was in UK, in England, he could experience touching it from the US. So such microchip implants illustrate a defining principle of transhumanist movement. Morphological freedom, the right to modify one's body in whatever way one wants. So advocates of this movement that we will discuss today, they believe that modern technology ultimately offers human beings to live for a number of years. I'm not talking about, say, 80, 90 years. It is much more than that, almost becoming an immortal. So, and that too away from the frailties of a human body. So failing organs, maybe decaying organs, diseased organs, disabled organs, they are going to be replaced by some high-tech versions, as natural limbs are replaced by carbon fiber blades. There was again some case where an athlete, he had injured his leg, and so this was it replaced by this carbon fiber blade. So humanity that we know today is 1.0 version, and this is going to be replaced by more durable and capable 2.0 version, as these futurists they are talking about these days. Now, respected academia, we know, now not going much far, within few months, Reliance Geo glasses will be available to us. And we will be conducting holographic classes in 3D virtual rooms and geomixed reality cloud in real time. So Now, in order to situate post-humanism within a historical framework or a greater philosophical context, we need to explore a brief history of this term, humanism. We know humanism is a shifting concept, and also that human evolution centers on the history of humanity. So the earliest, going by the Western tradition, I may say that the earliest humanists in Western philosophy were sophists who worked on the problems of man and his conduct, and thus proclaimed the intrinsic importance of man. Right, and they did not talk much about this ontological or you may say cosmological issues. And they didn't talk about these things. And then Socrates, he believed in human personality as a fundamental reality, whereas all the social and political institutions were, according to him, just aids to human development. Plato advocated the establishment of the proper balance between reason, desire, and spirits in humans. Aristotle, he reasoned the reason to be the highest attributes. Middle Ages, they conceived human beings as a composite of body and soul, and these two substances, and of which they considered soul to be far superior. Then, Renaissance humanism, that the belief that humans alone possess the faculty of reason. Naturally, this granted a central positioning of humans within the ordering of nature and construction of subsequent worldviews. Right. Then Descartes, again, in Western intellectual philosophy, he's considered father of human modern philosophy. So he placed humans at the center of the universe, and he separated an individual from the rest of the worlds, and thus began the age of individualism. For him, human is a thing that doubts, understands, affirms, is willing, is unwilling, imagines, and has sensory perceptions. Descartes, in fact, had given two characteristics to human beings, and he said that non-humans do not have these two characteristics. And what were they? They were understanding and pain. So this is how anthropocentric views is stressed. We also have naturalistic humanism, evolutionary humanism. Anthropocentric views, basically, they're just getting stronger. Then came on the stage, or rather, since it's a journey from humanism to post-humanism, so came the major junction. On this main junction comes, Michael Foucault, Georges Derrida, Claude Lévi-Strauss, Louis Althusser, such thinkers, and they are all critical of humanism. They believe that this humanism, especially of enlightenment, it cemented humanism's core beliefs, and they all question humanism's centrality. So human progress has always been connected with the domination of other humans or non-human species, environments, and through the assistance of and employment of modern technology. Today, this human-technology relationship is being continually redefined through the merging of nature and artifice in an attempt to disintegrate the boundary, but it still very much exists. Now, don't we see that this technological merging is greatly based on extensionism, and it's surrounded by this notion that humans are created with inadequacies, and now technologies are meant to compensate. So post-humanism, as we are going to discuss further, it incorporates a new way of understanding the human subject in relation to natural world in general. The perception of elements that constitute human nature has shifted in 21st century. Technology has changed the way in which human beings interact with the environment. And the human body may not be today entirely biological. It may not be biological at all. So it is human consciousness that characterizes as humans. It's not claimed that human consciousness is expanding through the power of technology. Right. So there's a non-physical space, this cyber world, where we are now exchanging conversation, our feelings, our thoughts, and this is what is happening right now. So in an entirely new way, these physical and mental relations to technology, we are, and they are all you may say, they are influencing how humans identify themselves in relation to the world they experience. Humans are supposed to be able to evolve through the application of new technologies. Scientists believe that these brain processes may be enhanced to unimagined possibilities. And these advancements, these are mirrored as well as imagined in the works of sci-fi literature that we study or the movies that we watch. Now, this humanism demarcates, basically, it demarcates between humans from the object or machine. But we see that this in increasingly technological world, this divide between humans and machine is being destabilized as people and machines, they integrate. Posthumanists see human beings and technological objects as not only separate, but as being merged into cyborgs or androids. All these new terms now. When this modern theorists speak of cyborgs, they are describing human extended and enhanced by tools, suggesting a transformation or a transcendence from a natural Homo sapiens. So posthumanism offers an opportunity not to improve humanity by following the guidelines set by humanism per se, but to rethink what being human is, right? What it means and what opportunities exist through the relationships between humans and machines. The new society is being formed by the revolutionary convergence of the disparate trends pulled from technology, behavioral science, and societal changes and medical advances. So this messy and complex transformation is going to, or has already blurred our identities into transhumanism. Right. So from posthumanism, this line of thought follows, which was very difficult to understand, being of humanities and having less knowledge of science. But now these days, this is what is being talked about in humanities, technological singularity hypothesis. Now, what is this technological singularity hypothesis? It's what I could understand is that with the exponential growth of technological development, artificial intelligence will surpass human intellectual capacity and thence control, culminating in changes to or termination of humanity as we know it today. And this event is called singularity. This was proposed by Werner Winch, and is not restricted to one way of thought or line of thought only, but could probably manifest in variety or combination of scenarios. There are four scenarios, and there can be permutation and combinations of these scenarios. So it could be like, first is classic AI scenario, in which humans create superhuman artificial intelligence in computers. And it's almost, if those who are watching Netflix, and there's a series called Black Mirror. Then there is we may find ourselves in IA scenario. IA is intelligence amplified. So in which we enhance human intelligence through through human to computer interfaces. Then the third one is biomedical scenario, in which there's some neurological operations of our brains can take place. Then there is the internet scenario, in which our online networks and databases are so deeply woven into the fabric of humanity so as to be considered as superhuman being. Now, this is as shown in this movie series, Matrix. Right. So such futuristic thinking, it raises the question concerning the nature of humans, machines, the ambiguities that are surrounding these categorical boundaries. This whole transhumanism movement is about altering the human body and mind in pursuit of transcending, human limitations, that is pain, suffering, sickness, death. So transhumanism is believed to lead to posthumanism. Now, at this point, I would like to, share this, like the major thinkers or critical thinkers who have given this their views on posthumanism, and their takes, their perspectives on posthumanism, right? So the books that see here, this is Cary Wolf. He is a professor of English at Rice University, and in 2010 he published this book, What is Posthumanism? And he is also editing, founding editor is of a journal, Posthumanities, published by University of Minnesota Press. And more than 40 volumes have been published till date, maybe more. So then this second theorist is professor of literature at Duke University, Catherine Hills. Her interdisciplinary work has centered on the relations of literature, science, and technology in 20th and 21st centuries. Now, her book, How We Became Posthuman, Virtual Bodies in Cybernetics, Literature, and Informatics. This actually is a text which is being prescribed in most of the courses there in North America, Europe, and UK. Then the third one is Donna Haraway. Now, she again is a professor of history of history of consciousness department and feminist studies in California. Now, she had there's a book, Simian, Cyborgs, and Women. Now, this is actually a collection of 10 essays, and the most important one, that we talk a lot about and study is a Cyborg Manifesto. And then there's a futurist who had predicted in 1990, he wrote a book, The Age of Intelligent Machines, this Ray Kurzweil. I think he's in Google. So he had predicted the popularity, how the internet, the popularity of internet is going to explode. And this is what we have seen here happening. In 1999, he again wrote a book, The Age of Spiritual Machines, in which he has he is presenting a vision of 21st century. This is a time when computer technology will have advanced so much to allow machines to operate on a level equivalent to that of human brain. He says, he predicts that computer will be able to make complex decisions and make emotional decisions, experience emotions, appreciate beauties, aesthetics, and all that. Then Rosie Braidotti, again, in 2013, she published The Posthuman. And then you find so many YouTube lectures of Rosie Braidotti and on YouTube. Then Posthuman Knowledge in 2019. In 2013, the Posthuman, she talks about the convergences of advanced technologies and advanced environmental devastation on the other hand. And she's talking about the boundaries between human and its others, and how they are becoming blurred through our digital lives. The question of what it means to be human is actually taking a new turn. And this also results, there's a need, she feels, to reevaluate the humanism and humanities. Then Francis Fukuyama is there, and of course about Niels I will talk about. So all these theories, they have different perspectives on posthumanism. So there are different attitudes towards this posthumanism, and one of them is this dystopic posthumanism that they talk about. And now this dystopic, those who hold this perspective, they do not support use of technology or alter human being beyond normative cultural standards, and they also fear losing, autonomous human subject. Now, Fukuyama, Anna, Sandel, these are all the theorists who keep this dystopian perspective of posthumanism. Francis Fukuyama, just we saw the work, he refutes posthumanism because he thinks that it threatens humanism and will ultimately, destroy the basis of equal rights. He gives this argument that he says his arguments are actually based on these three assumptions. First, that there is something called human essence, and this, what is this essence? This mysterious essence. Due to this mysterious essence, humans have intrinsic value and they deserve equal rights. And then he warns that this transhumanists, they would eliminate this essence. So what is this human essence? He says it's factor X. And now what is this factor X? Factor X, he says, is something when you strip off all the accidental characteristics from a human being, and then what it remains that gives a basic meaning to human being is that essence. And so from those who are believers of God, for them this factor X comes from God. And those who want to keep this secular perspective, for them he says it is a species typical characteristic that is shared by all human beings and human beings. So Fukuyama admits that this idea that there exists such a thing as human essence, this is attacked by modern science. For example, what does Darwinism say? Darwinism does not believe that species have any such essences, and it is that interaction with environment that changes the organism's behavior. So Fukuyama explicitly opposes this view that human behavior is so changeable. Human nature has become a meaningless concept. So, and it's clear that he sees that certain qualities as uniquely human, qualities that separate humans from non-humans and machines. Right? Then after this dystopic posthumanism, we have liberal posthumanism. Now this liberal posthumanism, this addresses say technological advancement from this political perspective. They consider it as an individual right, and an act of personal freedom to be chosen, as long as it does not encroach or hurt the rights of others. Right. So they think that this curbing of technological enhancement is a violation of, just opposite of Fukuyama, a violation of rights. They wish to transcend these limitations of human body to perfect intellectual, biological, and emotional capabilities, so as to extend and improve this life of human beings, as they believe. Okay, so. In short, we may say that, they want to escape the limitations of being human. And under this category comes theorists like Nick Bostrom and Ray Kurzweil. More work is there. In fact, Nick Bostrom, he warns that post-humans might pose a threat to ordinary humans. Right? And post-humanity may threaten first through infiltration, and then by takeover or replacement. So by this, there are two novels here I would like to mention. First is by Philip Dick, his novel Do Androids Dream Electric Sheep. So Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep was published in 1968. Then there's a novel by Ishiguro, Never Let Me Go. Ma'am is here from Japan, and she would be knowing this. if my pronunciation of this, the name of the author is faulty, then she may correct me. The novel that I'm talking about is Never Let Me Go. Now, these two novels, they present the readers with two scenarios. Here, I would like to mention at this junction again, since it's a journey I'm mentioning again. So these both novels, they are like cautionary tales about the way the notion of humanity may blur our one's moral compass in this territory of of posthumanism. In Never Let Me Go, what happens, there's a group of clones, and these clones, they are bred and brought up with a single purpose, that they have to become donor of vital organs around the age when they reach around their late 20s. And then they are ostensibly treated here just like ordinary regular children, but continually they are conditioned to accept this fact that not before long they will become donors and will be eventually complete. Now, what does this complete mean is that they will, if they are treated as humans, then it is death. But since they are clones, so their life will end, so they will be complete. So this social conditioning has determined the status of clones as a secondary citizens. Hopes, fantasies, aspirations, these all things which are human qualities, they are stimulated into these clones, and they themselves are dehumanized in the eyes of the society on the other hand. So here the bodies of clones, they become a set of signifiers, a signifier of body parts, of biotechnological function, of health, of rejuvenation for the humans. So this hierarchical nature of social and political power structure is very obvious, and their space of and this is their space of a domain of total absolutely hopelessness. Then the other novel that I just mentioned by Philip Dick, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Now here again, they can be studied parallelly. So humans have in this novel, they have, in fact, there's a movie also based on this novel, Blade Runner. So humans, they have developed replicants for the sole purpose of serving humans on the colonized planets as slaves. They are refused human attributes such as empathy as a way of self-preservation by the human characters. So the novel presents a near future post-apocalyptic world where almost all of the nature has been destroyed, and most people of the earth, they have moved to the other colonized planets such as Mars. And some have been forced to stay back on Earth. And so in this novel, the protagonist, Rick Deckard. So Rick Deckard is a protagonist, and he is assigned this task that he has to hunt down and retire the replicants. Again, the term retire, it is not death. So retire the replicants. And now when Dick comes here on Earth, he finds that these replicants, they have become even more refined. And to distinguish them from humans is now next to impossible. So the novel again raises this question: what does it mean to be human? Now, yet another perspective on posthumanism is radical posthumanism. Now, this seeks to deconstruct the divisions between nature and humans and overcome the notion of autonomous human subject. So, in fact, here I'm reminded of this film, Avatar. And in Avatar, there's a man whose DNA has to be taken to develop into a hybrid clone. So this man dies, and there are some science things that are happening. So he has a brother, Jake. Now, since Jake would be having same DNA of his dead brother, so he is taken in, and he is able to drive this avatar initially created for his brother. Now, this avatar is a hybrid clone between human DNA and that of a Navi. And Navi is actually the natives who live on Pandora moon. So now the greed of humans, the humans, they come to Pandora to mine a natural resource called unobtainium, and which is very, very precious on earth. And so now what is happening is that this Navi tribe clan, it's living right on this deposit of unobtainium. So this Avatar program is designed to communicate. We have, most of us would have watched this movie, but here from this point of view, Jake here reaches the realm where his individuality expands to its infinite status, and Jake lives the higher states of consciousness, becomes a universal human being, because all his thoughts, actions, behavior, they spring from universal level of pure consciousness. While watching, I felt it to be inspired by the concept of pure consciousness that we have in our Advaita philosophy. Now, radical posthumanism also explores technogenesis. That is the co-evolution of technologies and human, and sees this idea of freeing humans from human nature or human technology divisions. So radical posthumanists, they seek to radically revise our perspective from a human-centered one to the non-anthropocentric ontology. Now, here the scholars are like Donna Haraway, Catherine Hills, and Bredotti, and there are so many others. So now again, here, there's a novel by William Gibson. A movie is in making, and I don't know, it's not, I think it's not released yet, Neuromancer. Now, this novel again is, there are cyborgs and hackers, and this is a kind of anarchic fusion between high technology, low life, and then there are a lot of powerful mega corporations. So in this cyborgian civilization, this novel, the cyberspace is a virtual reality that is assessed through direct this neural connection through head plugs. The protagonist here is Henry Case, and he's a computer hacker. So what he has to do is that there is a AI Wintermute, and this AI wants to merge with another AI Neuromancer. But if they merge, then the things will go beyond human control. So there's a Turing police that stops this union, and then Wintermute hires this Henry, the protagonist in this novel. So basically, what is happening is that here Gibson has articulates the contemporary issues that come from the inexorable advance of technology, speculating on how technology is changing not only human identity, but the way we perceive human identity. So posthumanism is progressively becoming aware, is progressively becoming an accurate way to describe the people who have had technology make them. These are the novels that I had just referred to, and here I have shown it. I think you can see this novel. Well, now this posthumanism is, describing people who have had this technology make them gain new abilities. So, respected fraternity, in this lecture, I just tried to focus on that of the fictional and theoretical texts. I tried to covering various forms and effects. And at present, this area, it seems, opens up an endless realm of research possibilities. I here recommend, the Pramod Nayar's book, Posthumanism, which was published by Polity in 2014. And here he insists on just few minutes I'm going to take so that I can sum up. So I have kept constant, look at this watch also. So here, Pramod Nayas's book I was talking about, here he insists upon the multi-dimensionality of posthumanism. It is in his philosophical and cultural, political implications, and this attributes to many and diverse roots of posthumanism. Posthuman may be thought, as an ideology that helps us that helps us see what the human has always been and will always continue to be. Right. So for this, I will suggest you to listen to the lectures by Professor Debashish Banerjee, and he's a professor in East-West Psychology Department and in California, and his lectures are all available on YouTube. And here, I have in this lecture I just refer to the Western theories, but the moment we integrate in Indian philosophy in this discussion, the post-human represents to me, I must say with just folded hands, a broadening of our limited understanding of human as it already exists, and not the birth of an entirely new species. So thank you for listening. It was great sharing my views and on post-humanism. Thank you, sir. So anyone having any questions? And I think the question should be on the chat box or something.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. I want to express my thankfulness to honorable and acclaimed speaker, Madam. You have enveloped us with the scent of your knowledge and experience. As there is a Sanskrit sloka, Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjan Salakaya Chakshurulmitam En Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha, means you have opened our eyes and illuminated us. You have pointed out culture and literary theorist role in humanism, post-humanism and its meaning, journey of literature and humanism, social and political structure and its role in humanism, and nature and humanism, and so and so. Your lecture was like the sun, which have been the source of light and life. We hope whenever we seek you, you will appear to fill us with your blessings of knowledge. Thank you, ma'am, from the deepest part of the heart. Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker. Now,
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
I have a question from ma'am.
here's a question.
Somebody is having some questions to share.
Okay.
Can I ask?
Sure.
Yes, you can ask.
Ma'am, my question to you is, firstly, thank you a lot for this enlightened session. I am already working in post-humanism in my PhD, and the things that you are talking about are really helpful for me. But my question is, I have picked up science fiction novels set in future. So, will it be possible for me to, deconstruct or deconstruct those novels in the light of post-humanism? Will science fiction go with post-humanism in such a manner?
Yeah, of course. I think because, when we are talking about merging of, if I have understood your question clearly, because there were some gaps while you were speaking, but then what I have understood from that point of view, I'm speaking that you are talking, let me repeat the question. I think it's that science fiction, can you incorporate science fiction, or you can see science fiction through the perspective of post-humanism? This is the question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so now since we are talking about merging of technology with human beings, so this, this kind of hybrid that is they are talking about, it's android or cyborg. There's of course a difference between cyborg, if it has consciousness, human consciousness, they say it's cyborg, otherwise android. So when we are talking about this is transhumanism, right? And post-humanism, there are different perspectives, as I told. Shared my knowledge with about from these literary theorists and all. So first is extension of being human, right? So transhuman is just a machine, that the machine is merged into human beings, that is transhumanism. And in science fiction we see these transhumanists, or we see cyborgs, we see androids, we see humanoids, robots, robots when they have human consciousness, and so on. Now when we talk about post-humanism, it becomes a philosophy, right?
So, ma'am, one thing more, I want to add something here.
Yes.
As you have said that, as far as I have read this post-humanism, it says that it is the merging of identity. That means that the boundary between humans, non-humans, machines, animals, plants is all blurred. That
Yes.
means Rene Descartes has been challenged here when he says body and soul are different. So when we bring this concept to the science fiction, when there is the altering of brain from one body to another, so will that go with that definition, or I need to study more in that light?
I think post-humanism presently is such a broad concept that any kind of blending or merging that that is being talked about with technology, with environment, and these things, they are all it comes under its ambit.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
This is what I could yes.
Thank you, madam.
Most welcome.